And don't forget, keep the aggression all the way.
Welcome again to the big match. 3 more games for you today. There's West Ham against Derby County, Stoke City against Tottenham, and 5 goals from the 3rd Division as Colchester take on promotion-chasing Cardiff City. We're also going to give you a taste of football from North America. I think you'll like that. And we should be talking to Charlie George of Derby County and Glenn Hoddle, the bright new boy of Tottenham. But first it's action, of course, and for that we go across to Upton Park for the arrival of Derby County, the champions who now have their sights firmly fixed on retaining that Football League title. They come to the match 4th place, having lost only 1 of their last 19, so they come as form horses for this game against West Ham, who've won only 2 of their last 13. West Ham again depleted, still without Billy Bond's Kevin Locke, and now without striker Alan Taylor. But Trevor Brooking has shaken off a stomach complaint, and into the side now comes Yilmaz Orhan, a young Turkish Cypriot who's had only 1 previous game. As for Derby, flu's ruled out Francis Lee, an ankle injury robs them of Roger Davis, but that now gives another chance to that prolific scorer of past seasons, Kevin Hector at 9. Promises to be a big day for young Yilmaz Orhan, who played in the league defeat against Liverpool last month. While there's a relative newcomer in the Derby side, Graham Mosley, an England under-23 squad member, in goal. The referee is Tom Reynolds from Bishopston near Swansea, and now we're ready for the start. So Derby kick off in white, attacking the goal to our left. A side very much in contention still with the championship in mind. Lying 4th. Kevin Hector on the ball for them at the moment, and a goal kick for West Ham, whose championship challenge has slipped so much in the past few weeks. They now lie 6th, but they are rapidly getting out of touch, and indeed they've won only 2 of their last 13. They're badly needing to find some form. Here's Roy McFarlane, the skipper of Derby. West Ham badly needing to find a bit of form before they go into Europe against Den Haag of Holland in 10 days' time. McFarlane. McGibbon forward, and now Nish. David Nish, who recovered from injury after some treatment at Fulham this morning to make him available this afternoon. Now Hector, he's all right. Can he get there first? He can't, because Day was out quickly. Charlie George, though, trying to turn it back in, and Day did so well there. Hector through, and at least the referee applauding the linesman agreed that there was no offside, and Hector went roaring through. Day came out, saved well, and has got a bloody nose for his trouble. Hector. Tommy Taylor really came rather wildly on the back of Hector then. I don't know whether he might have felt that Kevin Hector should have pulled out of that challenge on Mervyn Day a moment ago. It's a free kick to Derby, quite right too. Here's Hector, McGibbon behind him. Gemmell turning it now for Charlie George. Shot first time, and Day again did well. And what made that even better was after George had hit it, it deflected so slightly off McGibbon, but Day was beautifully behind it once more. Orhan now, finding McDowell, finding Brooking. Couldn't quite get it back to Orhan though, who I think has taken a knock there from Colin Todd. Gemmell. Taylor. Orhan limping off the field, in fact, so that he won't cause the gain to be held up. And a few more problems down below for the likes of John Lyle, I would have thought, the team manager, because West Ham at the moment seem incapable of putting very much that is threatening together. Tom Foul. James again versus Coleman. A little bit of acceleration. Look at that for a shot, and what a good save. Well, that shows you Leighton James at his best. He teased Coleman for a moment, swept past him with a lovely piece of acceleration. Right foot, good shot, and a nice fingertip save by Mervyn Day. There's McFarland. In fact, Derby have got everybody bar two on the edge of either inside that area or just on the inside. Day's fisted clearance. Archie Gemmell. It won't come to Nish. Brooking with a chance to break out. Played for Tommy Taylor. McDowell. Taylor again. It was handball. So Billy Jennings. And as we predicted, Yilmaz Orhan goes off. And another striker, Billy Jennings, is off. Orhan, who was injured in that tackle with Colin Todd some 5 or 10 minutes ago. Roy McFarland with the kick. Towards Hector, and McGibbon again is there. I must say at the moment McGibbon has been an object lesson in discipline marking of a player. He really is stuck so tight to Hector. Nish losing it. And McGibbon going in on the challenge and coming away with it. Holland. And McGibbon this time has lost it. Now, nothing given there. Although Lampard brought down Hector, and Hector looking around saying surely there was something there. And certainly as Hector fell, there was a tangle of legs involving Lampard. But no penalty given. In fact, it was a wild old kick there by Roy McFarland, but there was nothing malicious about it, I'm bound to say. I think he was swishing at the ball, and he certainly didn't make contact with Brooking. But a free kick to West Ham. Good curling one there towards Holland and also towards Watson. And give us Watson's touch. And the first real bit of work that Mosley's had to do this afternoon. Gemmell in first. Somehow managed to keep his feet until Holland brought him down, so it's a free kick to Derby, already taken. Here's Rioch. Oh, again, that wonderful acceleration and a tremendous save. With these bursts of acceleration, both Leighton James and Bruce Rioch are getting past West Ham, as Rioch did there. And a marvellous save from a very difficult shot by Mervyn Day. Right on half-time. Certainly a disappointing first half for West Ham, who really haven't threatened Derby to any great degree, and been saved time and time again in defence with the sterling work of that number 6, Mick McGibbon, who has held Kevin Hector so well, with a couple of very good saves thrown into the bargain from Mervyn Day. The last one from the number 4 there, Bruce Rioch. So a lot more to come today, but a half-time score here at Upton Park that reads West Ham United 0, Derby County 0. We'll be right back with the second half.
This is Alistair, also outside the main entrance after the match.
first time. They're attacking the goal to our left now. It seems a long, long time ago that November was here when West Ham went to Derby, leading the First Division. It's a match they lost, and really that was the start of the slide for them. Both these clubs, in fact, have got very important weeks coming up. West Ham with Leeds here on Monday, and then away to Manchester United on Saturday. Derby, who've also got Manchester United in midweek, and then Liverpool next Saturday. Leighton James now for Derby. Certainly looked the more assured side here this afternoon. Todd. Cut out by McDowell. Robson. McDowell. Rod Thomas might fall for Patton, yes. Well, he's gone past Todd. Playing it out for Billy Jennings. Back for Patton again. But Derby closing very quickly, coming out quickly to check Patton. But here's McDowell. There's the cross going in, and it should be an easy one. Charlie George touching that on. Here's Tommy Taylor. He's a cool customer, Tommy Taylor, as he shows time and time again. Jennings. Here's Robson. It's with Frank Lampard. Brooking trying to turn Todd, and did so, and did well. And McFarlane did so well to hook that one away. Lovely bit of play there by Brooking. Oh, he's having another go at Todd as well. And it'll fall for Brooking again. I don't think Brooking is feeling 100% at the moment. He's had this stomach virus that's affected him for the last 2 or 3 months and was in doubt really up till lunchtime today. I don't think he really feels 100%, but he's certainly giving 100% here again this afternoon. As West Ham get another corner, this time off the header of Bruce Rioch. So Brooking with the corner, Taylor coming up. Chipped in there towards McDowell. Gamble streaking after it, so is Hector here. It'll be a Derby throw. Oh, the young number 9 there, Yilmaz Orhan, who had to go off injured. It's been rather a sad time for him at West Ham. He was in the cup side that lost to Liverpool. And then he just lasted a matter of half an hour or so to go. Kick there by Day, straight to Charlie George. Oh! Well, at least that's woken a few people up. A terrible throw out by Mervyn Day. And Charlie George pounced on it, really attacked the defender, got it onto the left foot. Way over. Well, it's a funny old muddled game this afternoon. And that somehow epitomises the whole afternoon. Nish. Oh, Hector offside. So we've now gone nearly a quarter of an hour into the second half, still goalless. Given with the free kick. Brookings glancing header for Keith Robson. Played on again for Patton. Rioch sticking close. And Patton getting a corner for West Ham. Which Brooking will take. No, Patton will take. Lampard turning it in. Billy Jennings got out well. Taylor lifting it back again. This could be interesting. Oh, it almost went in. Finally behind of Archie Gamble and Rod Thomas for another corner, and Jennings, I think, in trouble again. Tommy Taylor lifting that ball beautifully. It looked as though it was going just under the crossbar. Keith Robson was challenging hard. and Derby got it away. So it'll be a corner, which Brooking will take. Jennings still not fully fit. Now Tommy Taylor again, this time with a header. And then into the arms of Mosley. Looked to me with Robson offside, but nothing given. Hector going in hard now for Charlie George. That's there. Charlie George has done it. I think nobody enjoys scoring goals more than Charlie George. And that time the ball fell for him, beautifully onto the right foot after that miss a moment or two ago. And this time Mervyn Day half stopped it, but the ball still went into the back of the net. West Ham 0, Derby County 1. The scorer, Charlie George. And in all competitions, that's goal 21 of the season for him. Robson, that looked a little more interesting for West Ham, and Lampard hooking that ball. Mosley wouldn't have known very much about it. In any case, Lampard hooking it well wide. Charlie George. Hector waiting in the middle. Rioch again coming up fast. Tommy Taylor. Played for Keith Coleman. Hit first time now. McFarlane won't pass it back with Robson there. Todd to Nish. Inside the last quarter of an hour now. Nish again. Played on again for Kevin Hector. Charlie George waiting in the middle once more. So too was Rioch. And here's Archie Gemmill hitting a beautiful one just over the crossbar. Gemmill always likely to snap up anything that's loose on the edge of the area. Hit that well on the volley. Just too high. Derby's throw. Sure, John Lyle want to get a slightly more positive spirit, and a few first teamers back in action before those European Cup Winners' Cup games against Den Haag in 10 days' time, and then a fortnight after that, of course, the home leg. Robson to Patton. Dowell's made a move down the right, and here's Lampard. Here's Patton again. Oh, he was a little lucky there, off Todd. Here's Brooking. Good cross there. Still might have gone in the end. Gemmill had to thunder it away behind for a corner. Pat Holland and Billy Jennings were both in there close when that corner from that cross from Brooking came over. Gemmill very relieved to turn that behind. And West Ham get a corner with John McDowell. Tommy Taylor coming up for this one. He got the header in, but it's well wide, a goal kick. Seems to want the ball all the time, Charlie George. But I'm sure it's an attitude that Derby are very pleased that he's got. McGibbon.
Brooking being hustled by Powell, McGivern coming in again, and Hector just slicing that one away from him. Powell again to Thomas. Hector. Came back first time here for Rioch. Hit forward for Leighton James. Can he get in behind Tommy Taylor? Did very well there, the Derby number 11. Got a ball that few would have expected him to have got, but he's lost it now. Bumping into Mervyn Day, not recommended. McDowell. Coleman willingly going outside him again. Cut out by Nish. Leighton James. McGivern's header. And Gemmell's. Gemmell again. Played into the path this time of Leighton James. It could still come, and it's there by Rioch. 2-0. Sweeping move again down the left. Leighton James with the shot. Hector involved as well. But I think it was Rioch who finally put it over the line. So West Ham 0, Derby County 2. Scorer Bruce Rioch. With the broad grin, because it's almost certain now that Derby will get the 2 points that they badly want. Coleman. Oh, now Brooking going through. And Brooking has made it 2-1. 2 goals in a minute. Well, we might get a finish now. That ball fell nicely for Brooking, and he shrugged off the challenge of Derby. A right foot shot that was low and wide of Mosley. West Ham 1, Derby County 2. A little over 5 minutes left. Well, it's the old thing. Very often you'll catch a side on the rebound. Derby perhaps relaxing just a little bit. And they were caught out. Now Taylor to Lampard. Padden to Taylor. Well, can West Ham save it yet? Gemmell will get this one. And McFarlane that one. Here's Todd. I'm wondering whether John Lyle feels that it's probably just a little bit too late for West Ham to squeeze this extra point, or even a point. Well, there's Robson off in chase, and it might come for him yet. Doing his darndest to get it onto the left foot, and Thomas kept him away well, but they've got a corner. Which Brooking will take. Played wide for Lampard. Here's Brooking again. And they've got another corner. Hector coming out very quickly there to challenge Brooking. Curled in once more, Mosley a good catch. Well, he needed 2 goes at it. So Dave Mackay, Derby manager, must have felt, with Roger Davis alongside him, must have felt that it was going so well for his side 2 or 3 minutes ago. Now on the rack for a few minutes more. Charlie George taking the return. And hit first time, but too high for Hector. And Tommy Taylor now can take it up for West Ham. McDowell took that well on his body. Now he's gone past Nish, and there's his cross. Brooking coming in on it too. Oh, and that was so close to being an own goal there by Steve Powell. It's given them a corner, but there won't be time to take it. The final whistle has gone, and it's 2 valuable points for Derby. Charlie George, who got the first one, already down the tunnel there. And then when the second one from Bruce Rioch went in, it seemed to be all up with West Ham. There's Rioch, but within a minute, Trevor Brooking had put West Ham back into it. But unfortunately for West Ham, it was too little, too late, and Derby went off with the 2 points. A final scoreline then at Upton Park. West Ham 1, Derby County 2.
Yes, another sad day for West Ham, but at least with a chance quickly to put things right when they meet Leeds United at Upton Park tomorrow night. And still clutching at straws, perhaps, the good news yesterday for Hammers fans was that Billy Bonds had a fine game for the reserves at Bournemouth, where he scored twice in a 3-0 win. But manager John Lyall thought it unlikely that Billy will be ready in time for that game against Leeds. And clearly they've got to make sure that he's absolutely right for the European Cup Winners' Cup games coming up against Den Haag of Holland next month. In fact, John Lyall is in Holland today doing a bit of spying on that account. It was, quite frankly, not a very demanding afternoon for Derby, a point that I put to the scorer of their first goal. Of course, it was Charlie George.
No, you know, the lads were talking in the dressing room, and Rod Thomas came out with a crack. He thought it was a practice game, you know. Didn't seem to be any danger whatsoever. You know, as the game went on, you know, we give away a silly goal at the death, but as far as the players were concerned, it was never any danger that we were going to win it.
Why do you think that was particularly?
I don't know, you know, I can't really say. West Ham are obviously not the side we played early on in the season, when I thought that was a tremendous side, you know. But
mind you, without Billy Bonds, without Alan Taylor, without Kevin Locke as well. Yeah,
that's true, but I mean, players are, you know, teams are made up of squads, and we've had a few injuries in the past, and players have come in and done well, so it's not an excuse.
But looking at your performance in particular now, Charlie, in fact you missed a bit of a chance when Mervyn threw the ball out to you. What exactly happened there?
Well, I got the ball, I took the defender on, and he sort of, you know, he went one way and I went the other, and as I just went to strike it, it seemed to bubble up a bit, you know. I was a bit sick I didn't put it away, you know. Should have still put it away, you know, whether it bounced or not, but give me pleasure after scoring. I like winning a good goal, you know, they all count.
Yes, indeed. You seem to be enjoying your game so much more now.
Yeah, I'm particularly pleased this afternoon because I think I won about 99% of the balls in the air, you know, and I was knocking them onto Kevin Exeter, who was causing all sorts of problems, you know.
I think one other thing that I've noticed the difference is you seem to have controlled yourself a hell of a lot now. You never retaliate, you don't seem to argue so much these days. Was that a conscious effort on your part?
You know, I suppose it gets back to not playing for a while. You just want to keep playing. You don't want to miss games through suspension and one thing and another. So you know, you get older and you grow a bit wiser, don't you?
You're even seen going and collecting the ball and bringing it back as well. It's almost a new Charlie George, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, funny things happen, right?
And it's nice to see them happen as well. And our second match today comes from the third division. A lot of requests, in fact, from you for us to dip into the lower divisions a bit. And it certainly paid off today with a game of goals. It's Colchester United, so close to the bottom, against Cardiff City under manager Jimmy Andrews, pressing hard for promotion. The pictures come from Anglia. The commentators Jerry Harrison and lowly Colchester are in the stripes.
Adrian Alston trying to get behind the line. In comes Evans. And fortunately, or skillfully in fact, Cook marking his man as Bobby Roberts indicated he should, and in exactly the position to intercept. But it's Cardiff City's first corner, and it means Richie Morgan, the centre-half, will come up, so will Phil Dwyer, the full-back. Alston there in the goal area as Charles takes the kick. And Dwyer, now Morgan with a wide-open Dwyer, that's it! It's in! Although Bright got it off the line, Dwyer knocked it in. And Colchester United wide open there. As Charles took the corner, it came over finally to the centre-half Morgan. He had a lot of time. And then full-back Dwyer knocks it in. And that's his 7th goal of the season. Away goes Anderson. Past Dyer. Looking for Giles here, what a good ball. Alston on the left. Charles behind him.
And now Livermore square in a good position. Livermore looking for Evans, and a miss. Should have had that one. That was a bad miss for somebody who's scored 21 goals this season in 34 games. And he certainly knows it. A beautiful move with Adrian Alston finding Doug Livermore with a good ball. Most players perhaps would have shot from there, but he used a very intelligent through ball to Evans, wide open, over the top. Alston with Sayer on his right. Giles in there. Anderson square of him. And couldn't reach him. Dyer. Darwood looking for a man. Finds Dyer here. Now Smith has pushed right up. Foley on the left. In comes Bobby Goff, who's done well. It's Garwood. It's there. That's a fine goal. Colin Garwood, a man on loan from Huddersfield Town, scored a hat-trick the last time he was here, and he puts them level now. And a good ball from Lindsay Smith. Long and powerful, looked as if it was too deep, but Bobby Goff did really well to keep going, keep fighting, knock it back, and there's Garwood into the roof of the net. Froggatt with Larmour behind him. Dyer. Up goes Smith. And Goff. Garwood. Froggatt. Well, what a comeback. And just what John Froggatt wanted. Well, extraordinary that Cardiff should let them in like this, but they battle for it, and really they're doing so well. The ball put over from the left. Good cross there from Paul Dwyer. Goff got it into the middle, and then Froggatt knocked it in. Packer's kick. Goff again. In goes Garwood. Garwood again, must get it. And bad defensive play by Cardiff. Let Garwood in once again for his second goal. 3-1 to Colchester, and it looks as if he might still get that hat-trick. Packer took the free kick. It was directed straight at Bobby Goff. He back-flicked it, and then as Healy came out, the indecision and perhaps the lack of control lets Garwood in, and from that distance, with his record, easy. Sayer. Lindsay Smith. Here's Evans. Haven't seen too much of him. He had one chance in the first half and nothing since. Willie Anderson. Adrian Alston over the far side. Pethard in the left-back position as Anderson gets one over. Evans still going, down he goes, it's a penalty. It's a penalty to Cardiff as Evans was challenged there. And Livermore racing over to get the ball so that they can get on with it. And there's a little bit of trouble over there between physiotherapist Ray Cole and some of the Cardiff players. But was that a penalty? Well, as the ball was put forward by Anderson to Evans, certainly there's a player climbing all over him, and as the ball broke away, probably was impeded as well. So it's going to be Willie Anderson, I think, to take the penalty. But before that, I think we're going to have more additions to Mr. Martin's list of bookings. Or we're going to have an explanation from Mr. Martin to Livermore what it was all about. So Cardiff trailing by 3 goals to 1 with 6 minutes left on the clock. Points they so badly need for promotion, and it's Mickey Walker, the goalkeeper of Colchester, to try and keep Anderson out. 3-2. So that might put an entirely different picture on things. It'll certainly give Cardiff City a chance to fight back and go for a point in the last few minutes. Calmly taken by Willie Anderson. Walker goes the wrong way with no chance at all.
In fact, that's how it finished. A defeat and a setback that put Cardiff into 6th place. But now it's time for your letters. And a couple of weeks back we told you about a local team in Sussex that scored 3 times in injury time to win an important game. Funny things seem to be happening in Sussex these days, because Mr. W. Beattie, a sportsmaster of Sandown Junior School in Hastings, writes to me about a goal scored by his school team 4 seconds after the start of their game against All Saints, without one of his players touching the ball. It happened like this. All Saints kicked off, and the centre-forward played it to the inside left, who played it back to the centre-half, who played a pack pass right past his own goalkeeper into his own goal. 4 seconds apparently had elapsed. And it's interesting because I'm reading in the News of the World this morning that Peter Johnson, a defender of the Rothmans Isthmian League side, Chesham United, yesterday scored an own goal after 5 seconds. That was against Wycombe Wanderers. It's happening everywhere. A lot of letters asking for pictures of football being played in North America, particularly where well-known English players are in action. And it just so happens that a welcome visitor into our office a few days ago was Eddie Fermani, the former Charlton manager, now very successfully a manager with Tampa Bay Rowdies, their team in Florida, where Rodney Marsh is due to play soon. And indeed, he brought in with him a half-hour film, and we'll show you a clip or two of it now. Just spot some of the English players in action, like Clyde Best and Paul Hammond and John Boyle and Mark Lindsay. And Eddie Fermani himself, when a match against Toronto gets a little hot under the collar when one of the Rowdies players has just been sent off.
Meanwhile, Ed Fermani rose to his feet in anger.
He's up on his bloody feet!
I'm not sure, but I believe the red card went up.
Linesman!
The call against Linton, he believed, was unjust.
Linesman, you saw that bloody thing! He never even touched him, he sent him off! You can't send him off!
Arguing in vain, Fermani is saying the injured Toronto player is faking.
Hey, come on, you can't have it. He never touched him, linesman. All we want you to... Get away! All we want you to be honest. Just to be honest. He never touched him. He never touched you. Come on. Come on, he never touched you. Come on.
I don't know, he is walking back to the dressing room.
There must have been quite a discussion in the halftime locker room. When they came back, the Rowdies were determined to score, and so they did. Clyde Best, completely unassisted, drove the ball in from about 30 yards out, right past Bilecki. To try and even up the score, Toronto's offense moves toward the Rowdies' goal. John Coyne, a top Toronto offender, is dribbling toward the net when he stumbles over a Rowdies player. The ref calls it a deliberate foul and sets up a penalty shot. The Rowdies are shocked. The penalty kick is unnecessary, they argue. Penalty kicks, they knew, are almost always a goal. The man who would be on the spot in the goal, Paul Hammond, was the man to cool tempers. It was then a tense moment as Hammond stood face to face with Toronto's John Coyne. To block the shot, he may move only after the kick. His senses heightened. He predetermined where the shot was going and dove on it, throwing the crowd and his teammates into a frenzy of cheer. Shelko Bilecki, the Toronto goalkeeper, would have his own problem in that game. Perhaps unable to block Rowdies midfielder Mark Lindsay in any other way, Bilecki forcefully kicked Lindsay down. The linesman saw it and threw Bilecki out. Toronto was in serious trouble. When a player is thrown out, he can't be substituted. To use sub-goalkeeper Jack Brand then, Toronto had to pull another player off the field. They were now 1 man short, and with the Rowdies' excellent defense still on the ball, victory was only minutes away. It ended with only Clyde Best's score on the board, and a trail of fouls that would be tough for either team to forget.
Some remarkable film there, and an insight into football in North America. And we'll be showing you more of that film 1 week soon in On the Ball in World of Sport. It was all pretty passionate, really, wasn't it? Which is a cue, I suppose, for the last word on the vexed subject of players and kissing and hugging after scoring goals. And a nice little poem sent to me by Mrs. Sheila Whisker of 18 Goring Road, Dagenham East in Essex. Every Sunday, just after din, we turn on the telly and all tune in to watch the football, the goals to see, the penalty shots and the kicks that are free. But really the highlight of my day is when, on the big match, the players all cuddle. Core, I wish I was there. I'd be in that huddle. The slow-motion glee, the kisses galore. Don't let them ban it, please, Brian Moore. I don't think they will. But now it's time for our third match. Stoke City against a Spurs side that is slowly, and I think quite excitingly, going through a transitional period. Yesterday, for example, they gave a chance to a couple of teenagers, defender Mickey Stead and the much-admired 18-year-old Glenn Hoddle. The pictures come from ATV. The commentator is Hugh Johns. Spurs are in the all-yellow strip.
Lumsden for Robertson again. It was a bit short for Skeels. Taken away by Hoddle. Penniman. Stead. Haver gave the ball away. It's on from Moores to Hazelgrave. Greenhoff's getting set in the middle. Behind him, but it's on for Robertson to score. Well, Greenhoff did. 1-0. Greenhoff, 5 minutes into the game. All starting then with a bad bit of football between Stead and number 11, Jimmy Neighbour, down here in front of us. Hazelgrave was onto it, sped away across the box. Robertson looked as though he was going to shoot, but stuck up a perfect pass for Greenhoff to score. Lost his feet to Duncan, and Blore knocks it forward again. Greenhoff. Ball, Robertson. Willie Young gets it away. Pratt, nice little ball for Penniman, and Smith was thundering in on that. Now it's Hudson, and Smith's gone on again. Could be offside if he doesn't watch his step. Goes instead for Greenhoff. Smith's still in the box, so's Moore. They've got height there now. Didn't get the ball up high enough. In again comes Skeels, and it's Penniman coming out for Spurs. Chivers to his left. Chivers now. Moores has come back to have a go at Chivers. Ball. Neighbour. He attacks Dodd. That's useful, and that's Duncan. Duncan, this eager, energetic Scot, snaps up the equaliser. His 20th goal of the season. 28 minutes gone. That was a good breakout for Spurs. Chivers the ball across the park to Jimmy Neighbour. His cross into the box confused Stoke for a moment, and while they hesitated, Duncan was snapping the goal. They're taking on Dodd, brought down by Dodd. And Dodd had better watch his step. He's already had one very, very firm word from referee Peter Willis. Penniman then with this free kick. Far post for Young. Smith up, and that was Pratt trying it. Duncan there, and in for Chivers. Needs a lob from Hoddle. He did tremendously well, then Hoddle. 2-1 Spurs. 36 minutes gone. Glenn Hoddle in his first regular match for the side gets the applause of his colleagues, and Schulten's shake of the head in anger as he puts Spurs 2-1 up. His first ever goal for the first team. Glenn Hoddle, 17 years old. Someday for him. That ball bobbling about a long time, and certainly I thought with Schulten off his line, Hoddle might have chipped it, but he struck it hard instead. Smith, good head. And Summons finally gets it. Lumsden. Robertson in a chase, and Willie Young comes. Well, Stoke getting good support from a fairly sparse crowd. Moores, Hudson knocked out for the corner. Piling up the points in corners, Stoke. They haven't turned one to advantage yet. Salmon's over the ball. Jennings comes, and Moores blocked finally by McAllister. Boots flying all over the place then, and it was Moores who got the last touch, and McAllister just blocks it away for another corner. Going to bring off John Duncan, who has been limping
quite considerably in this half. Referee Peter Willis, has he seen it? Yes, he has. Now we can have the substitution. John Duncan limps away after his contribution to the game, the equalising goal in the first half. And Chris Jones comes on. Here's the corner from Hudson. A lot of curl on that. And Moore's got there, and it was off the line by Pratt. Superb curving corner from Hudson. A tremendous jump by Moores. Beat Jennings, and Pratt, the hero of the hour for Spurs, right on the goal line, knocked it away. Foul by Young on Moores. Hudson and Salmons. Hudson takes it, hooks it in there for Moores. And that's a goal. No, Jennings got there from Smith. Pat Jennings really is the most remarkable fella. Smith shaking his head, can't believe it. Absolutely cannot believe it. Hudson's kick comes on. Smith heads to what looks like an empty net, and Jennings, a fantastic save. Jennings there again, gets the punch. Skeels. Hoddle gets it away. Salmons now. Moores tipped on, and Young knocks it away for the corner. Spurs soaking up a lot of pressure. They're still standing okay. Stoke's 8th corner, the second half. Salmons now to curl it in. It's good height. Moores, it was off the top of Chivers' head. Dodd in there again, but that'll come out nicely for Hoddle. Pratt calling for it left side. Hoddle going all the way to try, and it took a deflection, goes for a corner left side. That goal that he scored in the first half has added to the confidence of Glenn Hoddle. Certainly looking for a second one then. So Pratt will take the corner. The action swinging to the other end of the field. Pressure now on Peter Shilton, where it had previously been on Pat Jennings. Willie Young beaten in the air by Dodd. Salmons didn't get it too far. Hoddle. Moores comes out. Perriman is there for Spurs. Our neighbour. Hoddle ran into his own player. A little chip back coming from Hudson to Shilton. Young's jump. It's for Robertson. And Stead was there to cover. Lumsden, that's not long enough. Chris Jones is going to get there. Oh, Blore covered well. Lumsden, a dodgy moment for the youngster then. Young staying tight to Moores. Hudson on for Robertson, goes for Salmons. Now Spurs scamper back. Bouncing shot, and Jennings holds it. That was an awkward one for Jennings from Salmons. Hit early. Hit the ground, seemed to pick up a bit of pace, bobbled a bit, and Jennings had to fall. Chivers gliding it off. Neighbour stopped by Salmons. Moores. Hudson takes over. Robertson, return ball for Hudson. Now Perriman joins in and does enough. Salmons. Dodd brought that down very, very well indeed. Oh, Hudson. Osgood is covering. Stoke keeping the pressure up on that left-hand side. Blaw's gone up into the box with Smith. Salmons is going to reach and try and get to them. Hoddle got it away. Hudson. Moore's under this. Jennings, good punch. Still in there, though, for Salmons. Now Hudson. Moore's down and wide. Dennis Smith, who got on the end of it. Just wide of the goals.
So, a very valuable win that for Tottenham, and I'm sure a memorable one for young Glenn Hoddle. And after the match, Hugh Johns asked Glenn Hoddle for his reaction.
Well, I was obviously pleased, you know, especially with the goal, and pleased with me performance, you know, right up till sort of the last 10 minutes. I give a few balls away, you know, but which is a little bit understandable. First game, you know, but particularly pleased with the goal.
Yeah, was it a bit nerve-wracking though, coming out as a starter for the very first time?
Yes, it was. Yeah, very, especially away. You know, if you're at home with your debut and you've got some crowd behind you. But I enjoyed it still, and the lads helped me on. Right,
I think many of the Spurs fans will find you a bit of a new face. You're 18 years old. Where'd you come from, Glenn?
Well, I come from Harlow, and I was born in Hayes. So.
Well, you're dying to tell us about the goal, the match winner.
Yeah, well...
How did you actually get it yourself?
Well, it come out, I don't know who played it out, but come out and John Pratt said hit it, and, you know, so I hit it, and it was going like, and I see Pete Shilton put his hand out, and I thought he'd tapped it round, and then I just saw it at the net. That was it.
Well,
And that's it for this week. Next week, though, is a big week for ITV Sport when we bring you exclusive coverage of what promises to be a wonderful Football League Cup final between Manchester City and Newcastle United from Wembley. On the Ball comes live from the stadium in World of Sport. That's at 12:30. Then on Sunday afternoon, we shall be bringing you the highlights and the dressing room background to that big Wembley occasion. But of course, we leave you today with a youngster who's got a wonderful future. I noticed this morning, incidentally, that the Spurs manager Terry Neal is imploring us not to make him an overnight star. Quite right. But remember the name, Glenn Hoddle of Tottenham, because this 18-year-old will always remember his first goal in the Football League.
Perriman then with this free kick. Far post for Young. Smith up, and that was Pratt trying it. Duncan there, and in for Suarez. Needs a lob from Hoddle.